Hi, I'm Andrew Skurka. I've been backpacking for about 25 years. I was the first person to complete the sea-to-sea route and the Great Western Loop, and also did a 4,700-mile trip around Alaska and the Yukon. Nowadays, I run a guided backpacking trip. We offer about 50 or 60 trips a year in places like southern Utah, Alaska, the High Sierra, and Yellowstone.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
Perfect. Good timing. Today we're off-site. We're shooting in my backyard, and one of my fur babies, Luxor, has decided to join us. This is a mailbag episode. We've really enjoyed reading all of your questions and comments for our previous episodes, so today we're going to respond to some of them. If you have a question that we can use for a future mailbag episode, please leave a comment below. While you're down below the video, also please like and subscribe. And if we really like your comment, we'll send you one of these Trek branded buffs.
All right, so these questions are from your Going Beyond All Trails video. @AmUG asks, I really want to hear about your thoughts on solo backpacking in Grizzly country and how you went about educating yourself on the safety aspects. Did you read books? Did you have a mentor? I'm doing some solo off-trail travel in remote areas of Canada this summer. I'm learning online, thought about taking a safety course.
I'll share the first night I was ever in grizzly bear habitat. It was the Bob Marshall Wilderness in late May of 2005. And I was so nervous that I thought it was better to sleep in a horse trailer that had a bunch of manure on the floor than it was to camp at the trailhead. So I understand the concern. As far as what you should do, I mean, you're kind of doing the right thing by doing some homework, right? That would be my recommendation. Like, look online for like grizzly bear best practices, maybe write them down, definitely understand what you should be doing when you're in grizzly bear habitat. And then I do think that there's just the more and more you travel in grizzly habitat, the more comfortable you get with it. Almost all of the grizzly bear encounters that I've had have been comforting in the sense that the grizzly bear did exactly what it was supposed to do. And like specifically, it left as soon as it figured out that I was a human. Either when it heard me, or when it saw me, or when it smelled me, it was like, nope, don't want anything to do with that, I'm out of here.
Is it possible to have two close calls with grizzly bears?
Hey look, he's running. He's still running. I don't know if you're not gonna be able to see him.
So that's been my experience. Usually if the bear has space, it will just leave. I think the challenges become when you come up on a sow and cubs by surprise, or if there's some sense with the grizzly bear that you could be food. But those are very rare instances, ones that you need to be aware of, but for the most part, I think hiking grizzly bear habitat is okay, but you should know what you're doing before you go out.
@Randy Hayek asks, I would love to hear about training for high routes.
Yeah, great question. So yeah, training for high routes it's a little bit different than training just for normal backpacking, because the thing that makes high routes different from a normal trail is just the amount of vertical up and down per horizontal distance. So I'm going to give you some numbers, and I don't think they're going to be quite right, but they'll give you a sense for it. I think that the John Muir Trail has 300 vertical feet of up or down per mile. The Sierra High Route has something like 500 vertical feet of up or down per mile. So there's like 2/3 more up and down per mile than on the John Muir Trail. And it just really changes the physicality of the trip. Like, high routes are hard because there's so much effort involved in not going that far horizontally. For training, what you really want to do is focus on vertical. So find the steepest thing that you possibly can and just start going up and down and up and down and up and down. Do not worry about horizontal miles. They will take care of themselves in the process of training for the vertical. The other thing that you want to do with a high route, or training for a high route, is you want to get your legs particularly just unaccustomed to that shifting non-level footing. You're just going to be walking on a lot of talus, on a lot of slopey surfaces, on a lot of basically, like, there's almost no bench trails for the entire time. So you want to be doing exercises to strengthen those stabilizing muscles. If you don't have access to off-trail terrain where you live, then maybe things you could do, like you could go to a gym and you could get on like a Bosu ball, or you could be doing one-legged squats. Basically anything to kind of get this ankle movement to be stronger than what it is right now.
All right, so these next questions are from your biggest food mistakes backpackers make video. At JimClean2 says, the goat giving knowledge. I feel processed sugar and other inflammatory foods are destroying our gains on trail. It seems like the older I get, the more sensitive my body becomes to the fuel I put in it. I think there needs to be an honest debate about the crap food we supply ourselves that does not help our joints and overall body health. Where do you stand on this?
I don't think we need to have a debate. I think what just needs to be said is that food's really personal. So if the food that I showed you in that episode, which wasn't perfectly reflective of the types of food that I eat, I was more emphasizing like the quantity or weight of my snacks, not necessarily what I'm carrying all day. But if you look at that and you're like, nope, can't do it. I can't do Pringles. I can't do M&Ms. I can't do Snickers bars. I can't do protein bars, whatever it might be. Like I need real fruit. I need nuts. I need berries. I need, my powders. Like by all means, go for it. I think just food it's super personal. What works for one person isn't necessarily going to work for another. So do some experimentation yourself and take out different things on the trail, figure out what your body reacts to, figure out what your body is craving. Make sure at the end of a trip or maybe during the trip, be like writing it down. And that way for the next trip, you actually remember what you learned on your last trip.
At Mark asks, Andrew, thank you for such excellent videos. In what form is the butter you're carrying on trail, and how do you pack, store, and manage it in the heat?
Yeah. So I'm going to put cheese and butter in the same category. So on our guided trips, we always carry real cheese and real butter out with us. They really add to the meals, the breakfast and dinners particularly. If you need to carry butter, there are two scenarios. If the temperatures are cool enough, you can actually just carry sticks of butter in a quart-sized Ziploc bag. And the key thing there is that at night you let the butter cool down. So like put your bear canister somewhere where it's going to get cold, or put your food bag somewhere where it's going to get cold. And then during the day, what you do is you bury that food bag deep in your pack and basically use everything else that's in your pack to insulate that butter. So like prevent it from the hottest temperatures of the day. So that's one scenario with butter. The other scenario with butter is that it's not getting cold enough at night and the daytime high temperatures are gonna at least cause that butter to get kind of melty and runny. In that case, the best thing that you can do is store the butter in a Tupperware container where it's just not gonna have a lot of weight exuded on it, so it will keep its shape. And then what I would try to do is use the butter early in the trip before it, because like if it's melting and then hardening a little bit and then melting again and then hardening just a little bit, like after a couple of days of that, it could be pretty runny and messy. So just enjoy the butter early in the trip. As far as the cheese goes, cheese is actually one more thing about the butter. I know a lot of people keep the butter in the refrigerator, but you actually don't have to. My wife and I, we don't keep the butter in our refrigerator. It lasts for weeks, lasts for months, and it's pretty wonderful having room temperature butter on the countertop because you just are easily able to add it to all sorts of things to make that thing much more wonderful than it would be on its own.
Where do you stand on eating plain butter?
Where do I stand on eating just plain butter? Just like eating butter?
Yeah.
I think I would want something with my butter. So like, I don't know, gosh, even like some sandwich bread or some crackers. And butter, it's actually not that calorically dense because it has water content in it. Like olive oil is very calorically dense, but like I wouldn't be carrying butter just for the caloric density. Butter, you bring butter because it makes almost everything taste better. Okay, so let's talk about cheese. When it comes to cheese, your harder cheeses do better than your softer cheese. So like a Parmesan, and not like shredded Parmesan, but like a block of Parmesan, that's gonna endure warmer temperatures much better than just like a medium cheddar. But medium cheddar is pretty great because it's melty. So it goes like really well in the beans and rice meal. So just be a little bit selective about the quality of cheese that you get. I find that the Tillamook cheese is actually the best cheese for backpacking because it's wrapped tightly in, it's like some kind of almost rubbery plastic. And that's better than just the sort of standard plastic sleeve that you'll find on like the best value type of cheeses. And by having it tightly wrapped, it just limits the air exposure, and the cheese tends to last quite a bit longer. I've carried cheese and butter on trips up to 11 days and have never had an issue with it getting moldy. With the cheese, what happens is that it will get kind of greasy. But again, you can limit that greasy problem by going with a higher quality cheddar.
Would you ever recommend cheesecloth?
I don't use cheesecloth myself to carry my cheese. I usually just carry it inside of either a quart bag or a gallon-sized bag, depending on the size of the cheese. And that has worked very well. I feel like the cheesecloth, I don't even use it at home either. I would be concerned about some of that greasiness sort of working its way through the cheesecloth and then getting on some of my clothes or other items that are in my backpack.
At mhaney1111 asks, what's your take on bedtime snacks? Also a small midnight snack to help stay warm until morning.
For longer nights, bedtime snacks or midnight snacks are awesome. When your metabolism is really hot, or when you're spending a long time in your sleeping bag on those long nights, the problem becomes that you basically burn through your dinner, and that you don't, the analogy is that you don't have any more, there's no more wood in the stove. So you need to put some wood in the stove in order to heat things back up again. So having a bedtime snack right before you go to sleep, or having a midnight snack available to you, that goes a long way. I have definitely many nights, I'll wake up at 2, 3 in the morning, and I'm like, oh man, I'm just kind of getting cold. Like I'm not able to sleep as well as I want because I'm getting a little bit cold. And I'll have a snack and I'll heat right back up and I'll fall back to sleep. And 5:45 or 6 a.m. my alarm clock goes off and I'm ready to roll. The one situation where I would caution you against having a midnight snack, and specifically like that means that you're having a snack, you have food in your shelter or food on you, is if you are in areas where there are very aggressive mini bears, so like mice, squirrels, raccoons, where there might be an issue of like one of those rodents trying to claw through your tent in the middle of the night, or maybe even like starts climbing on you. The other scenario where I would caution you against having a midnight snack would be in areas where there are known bear problems, where bears are actively coming into camps, the last thing you want to do is to encourage a bear to be looking at your tent or at your sleeping bag as some sort of burrito.
At Kevin Foster asks, any thoughts on chia seeds? Last trip I threw them in my water and they're a good source of fiber and supposedly help you hydrate better.
Yeah, chia seeds were one of those like superfoods from a couple years ago. I'm not enough of a nutritionist to know the health benefits or whether they help with hydration, but I would just say if you like chia seeds in your water or in, say, like a breakfast, you should add chia seeds.
Do you have any thoughts about ways to incorporate more fiber? Do you think that it matters for backpackers?
My personal experience is that fiber is not something you need to be that worried about on a backpacking trip, and I would say my experience in watching a lot of other people backpack, it's also not much of a problem. The one way I see people get blocked up is that they travel immediately before the backpacking trip. So suppose their backpacking trip starts on a Saturday, and on Friday they're on an airplane or they're sitting for a long time in a car, and they're probably not being great about their hydration because that means that they have to stop more often, or because they have to ask the person in the middle seat and the aisle seat if they can use the restroom on the airplane. And then especially if you're flying, you probably have like an early morning flight. So people, their routines, they're like specifically their pooping routines kind of get off immediately prior to a backpacking trip. So that's the one time where I see people get backed up, is just that like early in a trip. And the best solution I found for that is to carry in your like first aid kit, carry it's an herbal tea called Smooth Move. And it works really well to just loosen things up so that by day 2, someone is back to their normal bowel movements. Now, as far as the fiber thing itself though, let me address that. So when you're backpacking, you're on your feet, you're not sitting at a desk, you are exercising, so your metabolism is higher than it normally is. You're consuming quite a bit more water and probably a little bit more food than normal. So I think that there's just your body is like processing and moving and everything is working as it wants to. Going to the bathroom outdoors has never been a problem for me. It's not a problem for other people as far as I can tell. But again, that first day, the other thing I would add too is like, if you're in a group setting, I do think that there can be that like peer pressure. An individual knows that they need to meet for breakfast at a particular time, or they know that the whole group wants to be heading out and like start walking at a particular time. And so there's that peer pressure and like, oh, I kind of need to go, but I don't really need to go. And it's a lot different than if you're at home and you have your own bathroom and you have your own coffee pot and you can kind of take your time with it, and you've got a little bit more of a routine. So my recommendation to group hikers would just be to be aware of that peer pressure and to just prioritize doing your business. Like, it's important. Whenever I have a client come up to me in the morning and they'll say like, hey, I know that you said you want to leave in like 10 minutes, but I need to go to the bathroom, I will say, yes, like go to the bathroom. We will wait for you. Not a big deal. I'd rather you go poop right now rather than be uncomfortable for the first part of the day.
Have you ever pooped with a friend?
I have never pooped with a friend. Yeah, like pilot, co-pilot, or well, yeah, where are you? I don't even remember all the funny terms for them. Like you hold your hands together. Yeah, no, that crosses the line. Yeah.
At I'm Risa Ba asks, where do I get the Skurka rice and beans shirt?
Ooh, I think there are only like 10 of those in the world, but I'll tell you what, if there is a lot of there are a lot of comments saying like, I would love a Skurka beans and rice shirt, I will talk to the individual who came up with that, and we'll see if we can't put together a little order for some. Thanks very much for watching. This is a weekly series that I do at the truck. We drop a new episode every Monday at around noon Mountain Time. If you have questions for a future mailbag episode, please leave a comment below. Also, of course, please like and subscribe. If you are interested in one of my guided trips, we are full for the 2026 season, but we'll start accepting registrations for 2027 in December of 2026. Thanks, and I'll see you next week. Also, we will likely be taking a break for a week or two. This is peak season, so I'm spending a lot of time in the field. We will start dropping videos again every Monday as soon as we resume recording.